Pioneers in Training Conference in South Africa. The largest church in South Africa, one of the pastors were there. And we were in the green room. He said, Pat Francis, my God, my religious demons are screaming. My religious demons are screaming. I said to myself, they're screaming. I smiled. I said to myself, I wanted them dead. Come on, people, we're starting a revolution. Come on, people, we're starting a revolution. Hey! He says this boy is going to be conceived. No wine, no fermented drink, no drugs, no cocaine, no marijuana, no cigarettes. Nothing is going to intoxicate his body. He doesn't need an out-of-the-body experience by drugs. I'm just going to fill him with so much power that I'm going to give him gifts where he will hear from God himself. I'm going to give him creative power and innovative power. He doesn't have to use counterfeit. This boy is special. Verse 8, it says, Manoah prayed to the Lord God Almighty, I beg you. Let the man of God you send to me come back again. Teach me, God, how to bring up this boy. I need to know how to develop a royal priesthood. Help me, God, to parent this child to the full potential. Nazarite vow. Nazarite vow, that vow where you plan and you decide, I'm going to coach my child for a specific cause. I'm going to parent. I'm going to train. I'm going to discipline. I'm going to love. I'm going to care. I'm going to punish. I'm going to train. I'm going to bring understanding to coach the boy for a specific task. Parents are not believing that their children are special. They don't believe that their children is worth the effort. They don't believe that the children are worth the sacrifice. They're expecting the teachers to do it. They're expecting pastors to do it. They're expecting the city to do it. They're expecting everybody to do it. All they know is how to birth. And animals know how to do it. So we're talking about the default dunamis, where here is a young man called Samson who was born with this privilege, and he defaulted his power. He didn't know how to keep himself from the defilement. Daniel 1:8. Daniel went into Babylon, and Daniel was trained. He was a slave, but something about Daniel as a young man, he knew he was superior. He knew that he was special. And so in Daniel 1:8, it said, Daniel resolved, I will not defile myself with the royal food and wine of Babylon. I will not. I might be a kid, I might be a youth, but I'm not going to hang around with the rest of the guys. I'm not going to get involved in gang. I'm not coming to school to lose my virginity. I'm not coming to school to get disease from sex. I'm not coming to school to play dominoes and games. I'm coming to school because my name is Daniel. I am superior. And he resolved, it's a choice. I resolve not to defile myself. I resolve not to get pregnant before I get married. I resolve that I'm not going to be any boy's mattress at the school. I resolve that I'm not a freebie for sex. I resolve. And it's a choice that you make before you go into it. Because if you don't make this decision before you go into it, you slip into everything because of pressure. They call it peer pressure. But people of God, we're starting a new pressure. We're calling it a new moral revolution pressure. We're going to put pressure on the enemy. We're going to put the pressure on the other side. They're not going to look down upon us. We're going to be the one that's going to look down. We're not going to be the one that is the weirdos. The enemy is going to be the weirdos. We are going to be walking devoted to the living God. And God says, I'm going to pour out my dunamis. Come on, people, lift up that right hand. God is looking for somebody. He's going to pour out his dunamis power. He's going to pour out as never before. If you're willing, he's saying, you're willing, come. We're going to talk about Samson. Dunamis. God gave him power. The problem about power, this is why you have a lot of people in church talk tongues, agapadaba, but they have no power. They can shake and do the jig, but it doesn't translate into natural fruit. It's all flesh. The phenomenon that I found out is that a lot of tongue talkers are more dysfunctional than people that don't even claim to talk in tongues. So we have to get back to the basics and understand what God is saying. You shall receive what? You shall receive what? He didn't say you shall receive tongues. So what the enemy has seduced us is for us to tarry until we get the tongues and miss the power. So a lot of people speak in tongues and have no power. They have no power in their battles. They speak in tongues and they're still depressed. They speak in tongues, they're still poor. They speak in tongues, they're still struggling. They speak in tongues and they do not understand the warfare. Why? Because they have tongues without the power. No more tongue talking without power. We want what? Power. Come on, say power. Say power. Tongues is a sign that you have what? Tongues is a sign that you have what? No more settling for tongues without the power. This young man we're going to study, he had power, but he was subdued. The reason is because he had power without character. He had physical strength without soul strength. He was inside emotionally a weak man. He had high emotions without emotional intelligence. He had passion without purity. He had brains without development of wisdom. He had drives without destiny and purpose. We're talking about the peril of Samson. Gift, talent without character makes you a fool on the journey of destruction. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, people perish. The word perish is from the root word of Hebrew called para, meaning parallel, meaning you walk parallel to your destiny, which means your vision is what keep you focused. If not, you're walking along, you think you're going, but all along you're here, your destiny is here. Parallel lines never meet. You die in frustration because you have no vision. And so we look at this young man, Samuel's lifestyle, chapter 14, 1-3. Just this lifestyle. We're talking about the lifestyle of majority of young people today. In chapter 14, verse 1, it says, Samson went down to Timnah and saw. Say with me, saw. Say with me, saw. He saw there was a young Philistine woman, and when he returned, he said to his father and mother, I have seen a Philistine woman in Timnah. Get her from me. I want her to be my wife. His father and mother, come on, Samson. Isn't there an acceptable woman among your relatives and among our other people? Must you go to the uncircumcised Philistine to get a wife? What is Samson? In other words, whatever he chose by sight, the lust of the eyes. He despised the privilege of his destiny. He despised it. He got hungry. Okay, so he totally, because people like Samson don't listen to parents. They don't listen to any coach. They're going to do what they want, and they're going to become defensive, and they'll tell you off, and they'll fight because they're going to get their own way. So he got married. Now let's look at his hunger. 14, verse 8. Sometimes later, after he finished sleep with his wife, he got hungry. He went back, he married her, turned aside. He looked